Hello, you're welcome to the Filum Show. I'm Mike Sheridan. I'm joined as always by Brian Lloyd and Dee Malumbi. Brian is rocking one of my Under Armour hoodies.
It's because I'm wearing a green shirt. And
You're ruining the illusion. This is real. What are you talking about?
Oh
this
yeah,
is
we're
real.
totally filming in this brown basement with the dank lights.
Dank. What's up with dank? We were all about the dank last week as well, and the dank memes and all that stuff.
Oh, but the dank. Yeah.
You had a big week, Brian, and there's a lot of stuff we want to get to this week. We're going to review Mission Impossible. We've got a surprise clip from an awesome, I suppose, you know, what you want, like cult hero, do we want to say? Like, I mean, he's our hero.
He's our hero.
He's certainly our hero.
I think we should have, this show should now be a call-in show because technically he called into the show.
He did call into the show.
He did call into the show.
So we're going to get to that. We're going to revisit The Way of the Gun, and I spoke to Chris McQuarrie, who directed Way of the Gun as his first movie, directed the latest Mission Impossible, that we're also going to talk about. So it's a nice little package this week.
Right.
Deirdre was asking me off camera there, Mike, what way are we doing things? What's the structure? Because she craves the structure.
Organised.
And
I like structure.
And I was like, well, I've never given you structure before.
Why are you going to change it?
And it's been fine, right?
Yeah.
Structure makes the fun organised.
One thing that you did say you wanted to talk about this week, Deirdre, was Brian and the hug again.
Yes.
So Brian,
Well, not just me.
No, not just you. To be fair, Brian, the world has been talking about this hug. You went somewhat viral. Do fill in the watchers and the listeners.
Okay, so basically, right. So the interview that was done last week with Paul Rudd, a segment from it went viral on Twitter. I think it's at something like 400,000 views. It's at the moment where I asked Paul Rudd about this tweet that was doing the rounds. Essentially, where the reason why Ant-Man wasn't in Infinity War was because he could shrink down and then go up into Thanos' ass and then explode out into
Why not his
side.
nostril? Why did they have to go with ass?
I don't know.
I mean, why did they have to go with some other orifice? Why did it have
sure.
to be?
Yeah.
I mean, I get comedy. I get it. Comedy.
Yeah,
great.
sure. Yeah, I mean that was it. So that went viral, and then the terrible awkward hug that we talked about last week, which we're apparently going to see in slow motion now for some reason. That apparently went viral.
Shout out
well.
to Max Ramsbottom. Did you see that? Max got the shot of Brian's face.
As it actually did.
Just like pure fear.
The look of utter panic.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but like, I mean, I did other interviews. Like, I talked to Michael Douglas. Very interesting talk with him.
People want to see you do the cringe stuff now.
Sure, I guess that's it.
your
Yeah.
angle.
And like, I mean, I talked to Evangeline Lilly about her screenwriting, thoughts on the movie and stuff.
All
like
great
that.
interviews. Yeah.
But everyone wants
No,
to
I
see.
listened to them.
But everyone wants to see, me make a tool of myself at Paul Rudd. So I'm happy to give the people what they want. You know what I mean? I'm here to give. I'm a giving person. Here to give the people what they
I
want.
think the views.
Except Paul Rudd a hug.
Yeah.
That's the only
okay,
thing
like-
you're not here to give.
Okay. To be
Did you
fair,
hug him when you were leaving as well?
Did I what?
Did you hug him when you were leaving as
No,
well?
no, I didn't. Like, why would I? Like, I mean, he was the
Well,
one.
like you'd be just like, with that thing. It's like, okay, I guess we hug now.
No, but like, okay, I don't like
Like you
hugging.
broke that barrier.
We're huggers now. Yeah.
No,
we're
but
huggers
I'm
now.
not a hugger at all. Like, I don't like hugging people at all. Like, I really don't like it. Like, I have a real we talked about this briefly. I have a real thing with like closeness, like not intimacy. I mean, like, it's in like people getting too up in me personal space. That's it, personal space. I have an issue with personal space. Stop looking at the camera.
No, I was looking at Dave.
These are doing a Jim
Producer
from The
David.
Office moment. Just
Yeah, I
like-
thought that was a big, real Jim Halpert moment.
Yeah.
Yeah, personal space. Okay, and like, I don't know Paul Rudd. Like,
And Brian, how did that make you feel?
not great, not great. Like, it's personal space. Okay, just keep away. Like, even right now, how near we are, I don't like it. I'm a little bit head up about it.
Jeez,
Like,
thanks.
God, what's your problem like?
Just saying, it's just
Yeah.
not, it's not against you. It's nothing personal. I just don't like people personal space.
Well, I promise I won't hurt you.
good. I know you won't.
Physically, but you're going to throw some little
Little
jabs
dig,
throughout
little-
because it's too.
Yeah,
because
because you hurt my feelings first.
Yeah,
Brian.
true. I know. Sorry.
I've got something that's going to cheer you up, though, Brian.
I can't
Got something
wait
that's
to
gonna
talk
cheer you
about
up.
this.
So, listener / reader / viewer, I had Simon Delaney on my show, The Delve, a couple of weeks ago, and Simon is a gem of a human being. We've
He
spoken
is.
about him a bunch before, and an incredibly talented man. Now, we've spoken before on the show about our love for one Patrick Wilson, about our admiration, love,
Yeah.
man crush, whatever you want to call it.
He's a really underrated
Patrick-
actor.
Not only is he a really underrated actor, he's a marvelous singer, a Broadway star, has it all.
He's a triple threat. That's
So
what they call
while
that.
Simon Delaney was in a couple of weeks ago, we were sitting inside having a cup of tea, and Simon took out his phone. I was like, I'm going to email Patrick now. Emailed Patrick Wilson, told him about the Filum show, told him about us three, and this is what happened.
Mike, Brian, and Dee. Patrick Wilson here from across the pond. I'm calling one to say thank you for your genuine support and enthusiasm for me and my career. I would also just like to take a moment and really praise Ireland's greatest. And I don't mean Conor McGregor or Liam Neeson. I mean the lovely Simon Delaney. Simon and I go way back, even before Conjuring 2. We shared a scene in Police Academy 2 in the 80s when they're in the, I don't even know where I'm going. This is the zoo, and Steve Guttenberg is infiltrating the bad guys. We're in the back, and we hung out. We became really good friends, and we did theater throughout the 90s. And Simon did some questionable nudity in the Full Monty, which is something I know we all feel better about. But I just want to make sure that you guys, one, have his cookbook, are using all of his recipes. Watch him on TV, watch him on screen, watch him on stage. I mean, listen to his podcast, watch his kids. I mean, he's really the guy, if nothing else, he is putting himself out there. That's all I got for you guys. I would do my Irish accent for you, but I know Mr. Delaney would really, really hate it and laugh. And I don't need to be laughed at today. That's more of a pirate, really. All right, thank you guys. Take care. Hopefully I'll meet you someday. If nothing else, maybe you can come down to the Aquaman premiere if we have in London, which I'm sure we will at the end of the year. Okay, shameless plug for my Warner Brothers movie. Take care. Bye-bye.
So we've all been name checked.
Yay!
Patrick Wilson
Exciting.
knows our names.
Like from now on, I'm going to instigate this from now on. I am now going to get a framed picture of Patrick Wilson, and we're going to incorporate this into our set. I'm going to bring it in every time we're doing the film show. It's going to stay here, and every time somebody calls into the show, like Patrick Wilson, they'll get a framed.
Like Patrick Wilson, like this is going to happen.
I don't care. It's just Patrick Wilson. He's getting a framed picture. I'm going to make it today. And we're going to have a framed picture of Patrick Wilson.
You have a framed picture of David Hasselhoff out there, right?
I do, yeah. So I'm just throw out David Hasselhoff.
The Hoff can do one.
The Hoff can
get in there.
But
Patrick Wilson isn't ironically awesome. He's just awesome.
He's
yeah.
Like really, I mean, Fargo season 2. We've talked about it.
Best season
times.
of television ever.
Yeah.
He's incredible in it. I loved him on Watchmen as well. I loved Watchmen.
Yeah,
Brilliant.
I rewatched that over the weekend. He's great in it.
Isn't he? Like
It's
really
good.
subtle.
Yeah.
Like he's really subtle performances.
He's supposed to be great in Aquaman.
Yeah, looking forward to that.
Yeah,
Interesting
looking forward
choice.
to it.
Yeah,
Interesting choice for him. Like he's kind of playing a bit of the villain and that.
Also,
Yeah.
the A-Team underrated. Came out at the wrong time. But he's great, and he's kind of the kind of skeezy
CIA guy.
in it. Yeah. So Patrick Wilson is great. We love Patrick Wilson. We're gonna continue to talk about Patrick Wilson.
Yes.
In such a loving way because I mean, did you listen to that voicemail?
I can't believe you rang
That
yeah.
voicemail that he left.
That is
nuts.
Yeah.
We're an absolute gem, and a massive thank you to Simon Delaney, who was just deadly and extremely talented and very kind of him, very gracious of him to have that happen because he's very busy. And he took a lot of time out of his day to make that happen.
Literally, yeah, I had to go down to the. He was.
He's literally like some Ryan Seacrest.
Yeah.
Like he does 15.
He literally,
things.
no, genuinely, like the day I got that recording, like he had literally just come from Saturday AM to the gate where he was gonna be.
It's curtains up at 2:30. Saturday AM finishes at 12, and then it's curtains up at 2:30.
Yeah, it's
so.
an intense run.
Yeah, and like it was literally like standing in the middle of the gate recording that thing, and he was like looking at his watch because he had to go start doing rehearsals for the show he was doing in like 2 hours. Like, tell you, like I don't know how he does it. Like,
So okay, I've got a conundrum for you, Brian. Right?
Oh, yeah? Okay.
We meet Patrick Wilson. It's going to happen. We all know it's going to happen. We're probably
Sure.
going to be friends. We're probably going to go to his place. I'd say he's a place in Colorado or something. We're going to sit around, have some eggnog, maybe around Christmas or Thanksgiving.
did
or
you
whatever.
know his wife
But-
was in the Count of Monte Cristo?
But Brian Lloyd.
Yeah.
But Brian Lloyd. You see Patrick Wilson, you're like, Patrick, hey, how's it going? Goes in for a hug. What do you do, Brian? What do you do?
I mean, the fact that he's like called into the show, I feel like that kind of brought, there's an understanding now, that kind of way. I think I'd be okay with it.
Think you could hug
But
Patrick
this was the
Wilson?
second time you'd met Paul Rudd,
Yeah, but like, I mean,
and you were still weird.
yeah,
just
but, like,
saying.
Sure, but like, I mean, there's been a bit of interaction between ourselves. I don't know, maybe. I mean, I mean,
It's
he
like
knows.
it's like the hug at the end of Step Brothers. Do you know the two brothers? they're like.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I mean,
like that.
yeah, I mean, a hearty handshake. I feel
hearty
like
handshake.
a hearty handshake was
Patrick Wilson. I interviewed him years ago, but
Yeah.
he's like a big guy.
Is
you
he?
know, so I think he would engulf you a little bit. you know?
See, that's it, and that's what
Yeah.
freaks me out. Like, that's what freaks me out. Like,
Maybe you
just
could like sing a Broadway song in your ear as he was hugging you.
loving you is not a choice. That's a great
That's
song.
a great song.
That's a great
Yeah.
song.
Well, he does a great job with that song.
Yeah.
You know, that's what I feel. Anyway, thanks, Patrick.
Thank
Big
you,
fans.
Patrick Wilson.
Always will be, Patrick. You were the best thing about the commuter, Patrick, and I mean that.
Yeah.
He was
Okay.
great in that
He
too.
was great in the commuter. Okay, let's talk.
It's just totally like diverted there. Just talking about Patrick Wilson for 5 minutes.
Hey, it's an offer you get movie stars calling into your show.
I mean,
So,
I'm
yeah,
very proud of that.
so we had to make a thing of it.
I'm very proud of that.
And inexplicably somehow made a thing of it and had him call in. These things are important. Okay, let's talk Mission Impossible Fallout. We've all seen this one.
Yes.
Yes.
Brian reviewed it for the site.
I did.
So I want to give out to him about his review as I'm wont to do. But you really dug this too.
I really liked it. And over the past week, the more I've thought about it, the more I've actually grown to like it and appreciate it, because there are some action sequences in that really are like close to, I wouldn't say iconic, but they're so memorable, and they use like set pieces so well. There's that whole fight that takes place in the bathroom. There is the
was very
finale
cool.
on the mountaintop, which is just awesome. There's that chase sequence through all of Paris, and I haven't seen a chase sequence like go on that long and have you just totally, you know, engulfed at the edge of your seat, and it's just awesome. I remember when Brian and I went to it, and Brian was so cute. He was like a little kid. He was like getting all like excited, and it was just adorable.
Is that
They're
why
so
you preferred?
cute.
Is that why you prefer to be in the cinema on your own, Brian?
Yes. that's
Because you just
yes.
your visceral reaction.
I get into it.
They just can't be hit.
Yeah.
But no, I think it's yeah.
Yeah. Thanks for ratting me out on that.
Yeah, but actually, like I'm helping you out here, because I mean, I think it's a sign of a powerful film that you have that kind of visceral experience,
can't
that you're
help it, like,
actually
yeah, you
having
can't
like
help it.
these proper physical reactions to it and everything, you know. So I think that's a good sign, and I suppose that contributes to
Your
why
phone
you
just
give
went
it-
off.
Yeah, that was them. I have my phone on for time, and Brian, I'm the
Yeah,
It
whatever.
was just a notification, like yours was.
My
right.
phone went off, and like I got like my ass handed to me, and your phone goes off, and
host. My phone
nothing
didn't
That
go off
was
as a
a
notification
buzz.
from eating you dope. Your phone rang 2 weeks in a row, and then
did.
you left her on live on Ireland AM, and I didn't call you.
No, but you texted me though.
Yeah, but you
and
had
it
your
went
phone
off.
on-
I was
you had your
like,
phone on
literally,
live.
like if you go back, you can actually see my hand like trying to stop it from going off, because I had a feeling you were gonna ring.
I was literally standing on the TV going, "Will I? Will I?" And like, let's ruin Brian's career now.
Anyways,
Anyway,
sorry,
yeah. I mean, I like this because as I mentioned at the top, we have Chris McQuarrie talk about, kind of do a lead in of Way the Gun for us for the revisit towards the end of the show. So I got to talk to him about it, and I'm a big fan of his. I loved Way of the Gun, and it feels like he's after getting a bit more leeway with this one in terms of the action set pieces and. I saw somebody a critic writing about it, and I thought it was a really astute observation that every action sequence in it feels like a story beat as well, Brian. It doesn't feel like character, action sequence. Like action sequence just written. Everything feels like it has a purpose, even though
Fluidity.
sequences.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I mean that's why I love this so much, was the fact that once it starts, okay, fine. Dee said, we were talking about this after the film. Dee was saying that it felt like it took a while for it to get going, but like once it starts, it doesn't stop. Like it is just barreling through, and yeah, like I mean, it is a very difficult thing to, as you say, have a fluidity and actually have an action sequence, have emotional content, and have a story beat to it, as in progressing it along. The only other film I've seen that does it as well as that is Mad Max Fury Road. Mad Max Fury Road.
But that's better because like you're in it like from the first second.
Yeah,
you
true,
know?
true. But in Mad Max Fury Road, once it gets going, it's just continuous. And the story is carried by the action rather than the action carrying the story. And like it's very well done in the sense that it's so often nowadays when you see an action sequence, like something like, I don't know, Green Zone or anything by Paul Greengrass, you have that shaky camera, you're not really sure what's going on, the geography of the scene doesn't really kind of make any sense, and there's no kind of sense of, okay, what's actually going on here? Do you know what I mean? Because like very often when you have the shaky cam thing, they're just trying to capture that sense of chaos.
So trying to capture that sense of urgency, which is what it's like to be in
Yeah.
hand-to-hand combat.
Exactly.
Or
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
It's a choice they make.
It is a choice. But I often feel that is kind of, it's sloppy. Do you know that sort of way? There's a sense of like you're using that shaky cam, you're using that sense of urgency and chaos to kind of mask the fact that you just want there to be a scuffle. Do you know that sort of way? You want it to be sort of like this happened and now it's gone on, we move on to the next thing. With Fallout, you can see that there is a sharp sense of, okay, they're going to come in here, this is going to happen, then that's going to happen. It's so expertly staged. You can see every possible beat of the story happen, and you can see everything captured in camera. You know, that kind of way. Like the way that Christopher Nolan blocks out action sequences, you can see that, you know, it's all done in camera. There's no CGI. It's like literally when the car smashes into it, the car smashes into it. When he's like driving through Paris, he literally is not wearing a helmet. When he's chasing after him in the helicopter at the end, that's really a helicopter chasing after him. And it's one of those things that, like, you know, you can kind of see with CGI, I always feel when you're watching a CGI action sequence, your brain automatically knows that it's not real. And by essence then, I guess the stakes are kind of lowered a little bit, if you know what I mean. You can tell that it's a computer, you know, that kind of way. You can tell that this has been generated. Whereas if you actually see somebody literally hanging off the side of a helicopter, your brain just connects with that and realizes and gets a, holy crap, he's literally hanging off the side of the helicopter. And that automatically ups the stakes. So that's like when you were saying, like when we were watching it was literally like, oh my God, he's literally hanging off the side of a helicopter.
Yeah.
Holy crap.
It was really cool.
I enjoyed it.
Yeah, okay. What was your problems with it?
I enjoyed it. I thought it was way too long.
Was a bit
2.5 hours
Yeah.
long is too long.
I didn't feel
And I
that
feel
length.
like the whole like Tom Cruise doing his own stunts thing has just been like wailed on, and like there's just nothing left of it. We know he does his own stunts.
Yeah.
We know he broke his ankle, and I don't know whether that's because I'm just consuming more of the press
Sure.
around it. I liked it a lot. I thought it was really good fun. I think Tom Cruise is the most popular movie star of all time for a very good reason. I think his charisma is probably unparalleled, especially in those action roles. I actually quite liked Henry Cavill in it as well.
I thought he worked really well as an opponent for him because he's so much taller and broader that when he's beating up Tom Cruise, it really looks like Henry Cavill is beating
But
up Tom Cruise.
I thought that sequence in the bathroom was really strong. I love that fight sequence, and I would have liked to have seen more of that.
Like the more one-on-one
The more
combat
one-on-one, the
stuff.
combat
Yeah,
stuff,
yeah.
because I don't think we've seen much of that in the Mission Impossible movies before. Everything has been so expansive and been so set-piece heavy. It's an incredibly impressive movie technically. It's Chris McQuarrie's best movie as a director since Way of the Gun. He's made 2 of them. He's made the Jack Reacher movie, made the last Mission Impossible. I thought the last Mission Impossible was fine as well. But I mean, I get it. I don't know if I quite get 5 stars from it.
Yeah.
But I get it.
Like, the reason why I gave it 5 stars was because when I came to the end of it, I was literally, I want to see this again. I would be perfectly happy to have sat down back in my seat and watched that all over again, because it was such a visceral response I got from it that it was like, I'm literally on the edge of my seat. I know that's kind of a cliche to say you're on the edge of your seat, but literally I was like, oh my God, what is going to happen next? I can't wait to see what happens next.
I think it is really the kind of quintessential blockbuster of the season, because just you don't see action sequence. At least I haven't seen any action sequences of that scale in any other movies I've seen so far this year.
And even as well is the fact that like there's a level of experience with it, you know, that sort of way. Like you can tell that Chris McQuarrie, because like the way he lays out the action scenes, or even just the whole story, you can tell that like he's like, right, the obvious choice is to do X. I'm going to do Y, and here's why I'm going to do Y.
Well, that scene, because he spoke at length about it in the interview, was that scene where Tom Cruise does the sky jump.
Yeah.
Cruise obviously did the not tandem jump, what it calls another
halo
word.
jump.
A halo jump, sorry. So they have to wear the oxygen mask and stuff to do it. They're so high up. He said Cruise did that a bunch of times, obviously. They could only do a certain amount of takes because
of light.
It's the 3 minutes of light to get the light absolutely perfect. But he said they messed around with so many different ways because Tom Cruise wanted to be literally do every single beat of it to be real, to be on the plane, to be the last second before he jumped. He wanted to do all of it. And one of the things I said was, like everybody talks about how impressive Tom Cruise is doing this stuff. I was like, and yeah, okay, get it. That's
Sure,
kind
yeah.
of mad stuff to be doing, especially when you're a movie star and you don't have to.
Yeah.
But I've made up the point. Everybody looks at Bear Grylls running around the place doing mad stuff going, oh, isn't that mad? I think, what about the cameraman? What about the
Who's chasing
cameraman
after
with the
him?
backpack and the camera on his shoulder? And he talked about the cameraman then who had never worked, who got that shot. And he was saying it was, he had a 3 inches for room of error to get the focus, because he said, as Cruise jumps down, that's all real.
Yeah,
and
mad.
Tom Cruise, he said Tom Cruise had to like actually perfectly place himself as well. So there was a big thing in it with Cruise, and he had to pull focus.
Yeah.
All of that going on in that sequence, just
And that's what I'm saying. The level of skill and expertise that's on display, like that for me, it was like that. Like as a technical achievement, this film is incredible. It's incredible. Like literally that. The fact that he actually hurled himself out of an airplane with a camera strapped to literally get one shot. One shot. He could have done that in CGI and nobody would have known, or he would have known. But like the fact that they did it for real.
but that the lighting had to be that perfectly
Yeah.
for those 3 minutes, just kind of underlines.
Yeah.
I think McQuarrie's evolution as a director
Completely.
as well.
And like listening to your back to your interview, it was amazing to hear him to say about how he felt so like annoyed at himself for having to cut it because he wanted it all to
In
be
one-
the one
in one
take.
shot, yeah.
And he was like, and I have to make a cut. And I'm like, the final product is amazing, but
Yeah.
he still like expects so much of himself as a director. And I think that's why he makes such amazing films, you know, because he holds himself to such a high standard.
Yeah, and even he was talking about with the helicopter sequence at the end. He literally said, "If I'd known it was going to be like this, I never would have done it because it was that intense and it was that complex and difficult to shoot." He said, "If we had started off knowing that we were going to finish up there, I never would have done it." Like, so, I mean, for me, this is the best blockbuster I've seen this year, hands down. I have not seen a better blockbuster this year. And there's another part to this as well that I think is just finally just to kind of touch on it is when you look at like something like Skyfall or the Bond series as a whole, there's always an element of kind of like, yeah, you can enjoy it, but there's always an element of like, this is a bit like, not tired is what I want to say, but there's always sort of like, with Mission Impossible, you can come to it guilt-free. I think that's always the way.
What guilt are you getting from the Bond movies?
Just like, you know, like you could argue it's kind of like talking about, you know, British imperialism, British nationalism, you know, that sort of, that he's, you know, the British agent, you know, that sort of way.
Ethan Hunt is the American agent.
But he's not though. It's an international team.
Yeah,
like.
but I
Like
mean,
you've got Simon Pegg and you've
But
got Ving
that's
Rhames.
literally every single action movie. Terrorists are going to do a thing, and you have to stop the thing from whatever country you're from.
Yeah, I know, but
So
like I'm
that's
just saying, there's just like with Mission Impossible, I always felt there was an element that you can come to it guilt free. You know, that kind of.
I don't think that. I mean, as much as
I know I'm not saying that's the reason
as
why I
know,
give it 5
I know, I get
stars.
what you're saying, but as much as I enjoyed this one, it's not a patch on Skyfall for me.
Really?
Oh, Skyfall is like.
Jesus, no, I'd put this well above. Skyfall would have given 4 stars. This, I'm perfectly happy to give it 5 stars. I think it's that good.
What do you think?
I haven't seen Skyfall for years. I myself would give Mission Impossible Fallout 4.5 because I do think it's a bit long, and I do think like a half hour could have been taken out of that first act.
But
because
where would you cut it? Like,
Because once I don't know, I just don't.
You
think
can't really do that
they
without
needed,
getting into spoilers
Yeah,
either.
yeah. I mean, basically, I don't think you really needed that kind of character establishment and build up. I think that he could have done that much kind of quicker. Because once you get into the action, it's kind of like, well, this is what we came for anyway. And I think that he could have made like a simpler story and just gotten into the action quicker, because that is what we came for.
Yeah,
and that is what's good
the
about it.
plot is.
You know?
I mean, it's not convoluted. It's obviously well thought out.
Yeah.
but there's a lot of strings to it that have to
Yeah.
come together. But to keep track of those different threads.
it's tough.
Yeah, yeah.
And I think you need to provide context as well. Like, because like, if it was just literally like, I've got to go and get this bomb. Like, if it's literally that's a bit.
Yeah, but I mean, look at. I'm sorry, but I'm going to bring it up again. John Wick, one of the best action movies of the last decade. And it's like, guy kills his dog, steals his car, he goes after them. Like, that's it.
It's actually because
you know,
I spoke to Chris McQuarrie about not necessarily about John Wick. No, because and we'll get into it later with Way of the Gun, because McQuarrie kind of talked about his brother's one of his
he's a Navy SEAL guy,
Navy
yeah.
weapons expert. So in Way of the Gun, and we'll get into that. It's very like you're like, this is authentic. This feels
very
real.
technically.
Yeah.
And he says, and I was like, you don't really see that a lot in movies. It's the only really movies you'd see that in is John Wick. And he was like, yeah, those guys are like, you know, they're really into it, but they're so good. So I think that's more a case of talent. And being able to have an emotional impact with a story so simple.
But my
and
point-
Keanu Reeves.
True.
My point is just that for action movies, like the best action movies, you can kind of describe them story-wise in like a sentence because
Very
they
true.
just get
Yeah.
into
Yeah,
it,
it's
and
fair
it's
point.
just a simple formula. Think of the likes of like Die Hard, Speed. I know we've talked
Yeah,
about
yeah,
those
yeah.
in previous weeks, but you know what I mean. I just felt that this didn't need to be so convoluted because like you kind of know
Mission
what's going to
Impossible.
happen.
Sure, but like that's Mission Impossible's all. It's Hook. It's this really convoluted story about there's missions and it's it's
They're
a mole
impossible.
hunt. It's a it's a mole hunt and like it's there's backstabbing. It's like we don't know who to trust kind of thing. Like because you look back at the first Mission Impossible, the one that Brian De Palma did. That's a complete psychodrama in the sense of like it's him running around Europe terrified of like the people that are chasing him and he's not sure who to believe in. Literally like the whole mask pulls and stuff like that. And that's another thing that I loved about Fallout as well was the fact that I felt it not finally, but it embraced its ridiculousness. That sort of way.
Oh, I know the scene you're talking about where there's like double crossing and double crossing, and like it was so like self-aware, and like we were in the audience and the audience was laughing, but I mean even like in the
That playfulness.
in the scene, you can see the actors kind of grinning at each
Yeah.
other like they're having fun with it,
And that's
'cause
really-
they know how it's ridiculous.
Exactly, and that's and what I loved about that was the fact that like the audience is in on the joke. Like
Yeah.
literally everyone's watching. It's like it's not a sort of like gotcha. It's like come on, laugh. Let's see let's see how far this goes. Like that kind of.
So would you put this in the best of the year? You've only given one of the 5-star review, Michael
Yeah,
Inside.
Michael Inside, yeah.
So like two very different films, obviously. Would
Yeah.
you have this in your
100%.
Yeah.
100%.
What about you, Dee?
100%.
in my best of the year,
Yeah.
top 10.
4.5
Maybe
is
not
4.5
top
is lofty,
five. Yeah.
right?
That's high up, like.
Yeah. Speaking of which, of like one lines for action movies, went to see Skyscraper last weekend purely for the air conditioning. If I'm being honest, it was a very muggy Sunday. Very
was,
muggy
yeah.
Sunday. And like it was like I had to host a thing on Saturday, and The Rock he wasn't there, but talking about him and he was a part of it. And they showed a trailer for Skyscraper, and I got up and I said, The Rock versus a Skyscraper, Who doesn't want to see that fight? And I went to see it on Sunday, and that's exactly what it was, and I enjoyed it. Dee.
Yeah.
You were like, really?
You're weird.
You were like, really? And he's only got one leg.
I don't get your taste sometimes, Mike. I gotta be honest.
It's eclectic, right? It's eclectic.
Yeah, it's what you want, like.
But I mean, there are no stakes. You watch it and you're like, he's gonna be fine. You know?
And there's a lot of him doing pull-ups.
Yeah.
Like literally pulling himself
Yeah.
up. Like, there's a lot of that.
But
Yeah,
like,
well,
I mean,
he is missing a leg.
Yeah, true.
but the whole time I was watching, it was like, I'd rather be watching Die Hard. Like, I'd rather be watching
that's what I was
like
thinking watching it.
the whole time. It was like,
I mean, it's a 3-star film. I agree with you. I just enjoyed that
yeah.
element of it a bit more.
exactly. And like low expectations say a lot. Like,
That's very true as well. But I would have liked it more if it was an R-rated, because you do miss that
Yeah.
impact a little
Yeah.
bit.
Yeah,
So I think there was a lot of potential there with the villain and that kind of stuff to have a proper homage. But I tell you exactly what happened there as well.
Go on.
They were like, okay, where is Dwayne Johnson, a superstar? He's a global superstar. Where is he really big? Right, he's really big in America. He's really big in China. So I'd say the writer-director Tuber was like, I got this idea for the world's biggest skyscraper.
we put it in Hong Kong.
No, they were LA, New York. He's like, no, Hong Kong. Like, Dwayne's huge in China. We'll make the money back there. Which is probably what will happen because it hasn't done that well at
Yeah,
the domestic box
true,
I
office
mean,
in
they
the
did it
US.
with whatchamacallit, Transformers. That made
Yeah.
a lot of money.
That kept
Yeah.
existing because of the money made in
Yeah.
Asia, I
Yeah.
suppose.
There you go.
Up until Bumblebee, which we're really looking forward to. That's next.
Bumblebee, I'm really looking forward to that. Apparently, they showed footage of it at San Diego Comic-Con over the weekend.
Oh, really?
And,
How did it go down?
Very well. Like, a lot of people are saying, like, it's basically like an Amblin movie. And I'm like, that's...
Oh, that's a really
I was like,
good
when I heard that,
compliment.
I heard that, I was like, yes, I'm ready for that.
I think that was certainly what he was going for,
Yeah.
from what I've heard.
Yeah, and I'm excited. I can't believe I'm excited about a Transformers movie. Like, that's ridiculous. Like,
Deadly.
So,
Okay.
yeah.
So that's it really this week review-wise. There's, Dee, you're away next week.
I am away.
So it's just going to be me and Brian.
Yeah.
Ox. Oh, no. Dave, can we give you a mic next week? Will you say stuff to make it less awkward with me and Brian?
yeah,
Great.
he's just going to come out with the one-liners the whole
movie
time.
news section.
Do you want to do these movie news section next week? You can't be on. You can't be on screen though because you're too handsome.
Thank you.
There we are. There we
Be
are.
distracting.
Deadpan
Bit
Dave
distracting.
strikes again.
Deadpan producer Dave. All right, Deirdre.
That was so half-assed. That was so half-assed. Oh my god,
I
that's the
can't
most
give my
half-assed.
all every week.
I know, but I'm
I'll
just
go
like,
on holidays
You
next
come
week
back from
for
holidays and you'd be like,
Yeah.
You're so checked out. Like you're just like, yeah, whatever. Yeah, just kick on there. You were so checked out.
It's been a long week.
I know. Very tired.
Okay, I have 4 pieces of movie news this week because we only had the one movie to review. So starting off with Robert De Niro may be joining the cast of Joaquin Phoenix's latest movie. Oh, Brian doesn't seem very happy about this. Also, by the way, Zazie Beetz is meant to be joining it, and I'm
She's
so
awesome.
excited
Yeah,
about
she's
that.
great.
Awesome, Deadpool too.
So
Yeah.
cool. But Robert De Niro is reportedly in talks to play a talk show host who is partly responsible for the Joker's descent into madness. This would be his first role in a comic book adaptation or a superhero movie. But Brian is displeased about this.
Why are you displeased, Brian? This is Todd Phillips directing, Martin Scorsese
Yeah.
producing.
Yeah, I think that they're kind of the names that brought in De Niro because Todd Phillips kind of pitched it to De Niro as this kind of 80s noir, like
King of
dark
comedy
movie,
kind of thing.
as opposed to like
King of
kind
Comedy
of a-
makes sense with
yeah.
the talk show
Yeah.
thing and
Yeah.
Martin Scorsese attached.
Yeah.
I mean, what do you have to sell to Robert De Niro now? Here's money, Rob.
Yeah.
Or Bob, if you're friends with him.
Yeah.
Here's money, Bob. And he's like, all right.
Yeah, like he's not like. I actually wrote an entire article about why the Joker Orange movie is a terrible idea. You can read it, but the cliff notes of it is that
Thanks, because I'm not going to read it.
Grant.
But a few months later, you wrote that Nick Cage would make a good Joker.
he would. Nick Cage would make a fantastic
in
Joker.
an Origins movie.
No. See, this is it. The Joker is supposed to be. You're not supposed to know where he comes from. You're not supposed to know where he
That's
comes
just
from.
Heath Ledger's interpretation of it.
That's all of them.
In the first one, you see him go mad, like in Jack Nicholson's
Yeah,
performance,
but
right?
like, yeah, sure, but it's more just a sort of, it's an escalation rather than it's sort of like, this is how he came to be. It's sort of like, he was this terrible person to begin with anyway, and then he just literally got
Well,
a bit
maybe
of
that
face
was something
paint.
that they were going to get into if Heath Ledger hadn't passed away, because Bane's given a whole backstory as
Yeah.
well in The Dark Knight Rises. So,
It's just like, yeah, but like, I mean, he's supposed to be this force of nature. you
well,
know?
that universe has context. That universe
Sure.
has this is who the Joker was. This is where
Yeah.
there's a whole show called Gotham that's based on the origins of these things. So
Yeah.
why not a
True.
movie?
I just no, I just don't think it works. Like he's supposed to be this question mark, you know, that sort of way. He's supposed to be this like we don't know where he comes from. We just know that every time he turns up, there's chaos, and that's it. You can't like trying to sort the origin of chaos as a concept doesn't work. That's it. Like Joker is the embodiment of chaos.
Yeah, but the character, the element of the character, no, I'm like,
No, I don't think it works. Like, I really don't think it works. Like, look, I think they're coming at it with the best intentions. They've said, like, you know, they're going to set a budget of 50 million, that Todd Phillips is really going to go for that King of Comedy 80s and war thing. Like,
Todd Phillips is a very good director.
he is,
And
yeah, he
Joaquin
is.
Phoenix is a great actor.
Sure, like, I mean, it has everything going for it.
I mean, come on. You don't want to see Joaquin Phoenix go toe-to-toe with Robert De Niro. Come on.
Yeah, like, I mean,
Two great actors of different generations.
100%, yeah, 100%. Like,
Like,
I'm
shut
saying,
your face, Brian.
I'm saying it has everything. I'm saying it has everything
In
going
summary.
for it. I'm saying it has everything going for it. What annoys me is the fact that, like, why can't they make an original film? If there was an original film that Todd Phillips was going to direct, well, Joaquin Phoenix and Robert De Niro, I'll be there, front row, ready to do it and sign.
original
There
Joker
isn't
movie.
really an original movie ever now.
It's just a character you know of because of the Batman movies.
That's what I'm saying, yeah. So, like, why are they taking an existing character that has this legacy and then just trying to funnel their own, you know, take? I'm against it.
All right, Dee, before we move on to the next story, because isn't the one with Jared Leto still happening? That's Suicide
Yeah,
Squad?
yeah, oh, yeah,
Now,
sorry, yeah.
that's the one. Now that's the one I'm like.
Yeah,
nobody
that's the
wants
one
to see
I've
that.
no interest
Nobody
in.
wants to see
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, so Warner Brothers are still planning on a standalone movie for Jared Leto's interpretation of the Joker, and he's still meant to play the character in Suicide Squad 2,
Now,
which I don't really care to see, but
Gavin
I think that
O'Connor's
this-
doing it, isn't he?
yeah,
Yeah.
Gavin
accountant.
O'Connor, the accountant, warrior. I'm in.
Solid.
Yeah.
All we'll go
Yeah.
see.
Yeah.
And the last one's a mess. Lowered expectations.
Yeah, I mean, Jared Leto has said that, you know, his kind of portrayal of the Joker didn't really have a chance because, like, they edited out a bunch of footage, and maybe that's true. I mean, we've seen bits in the trailer that never made it to the movie, so maybe there was more substance to, you know, his particular portrayal of it. But I just think that, in general, I just don't like it. I don't. It wasn't a fit for me. Like when I heard about it, and even when I saw it, it just
When
wasn't
that movie
working.
came out, I think what happened there, Will Smith came on board and every other role shrunk. I think
Yeah.
that's exactly, and because then Tom Hardy bounced as well for scheduling conflict. So every other role there shrunk, and Tom Hardy was probably like, yeah, good luck, I'm off. So the only other person who had an opportunity to stand out and who 100% did was Margot Robbie.
Yeah,
Who was
as
like
Harley Quinn. Yeah,
as Harley Quinn was awesome, and the Harley Quinn movie I want to see, the Joker movie with Jared Leto, and all those stories going around about him, like kind of. And we'll move on now, but all stories around about him on set and like
sending
Sending
disgusting
discussing like
things.
you
Yeah, that's
absolute
not cool.
shithead.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
Get it.
yeah, like get some ethos around the movie. This isn't the 80s. There's the internet now. People can Google this stuff.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, all of it just seems like
Just
a bit
do
of a
my,
mess.
my so-called life reunion and get it over with.
Right, Jordan Catalano. I want to see him back as Jordan Catalano. I will watch that before I'd watch him do
That's what
another
they call them,
Joker.
bangs. He has the bangs. That's what
I
they call
think
you. The
that's what they
bangs.
call
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Come on, like I would watch the hell out of that. I really would. My so-called life was brilliant. It's a great show. What are you looking at me for? It was a great show. Shut up.
I never saw it.
Really?
These too young. Go on, what else have you got? Yeah, too young.
Oh,
It was like early 90s.
Jonah Hill is directing now. Mike is. Okay, I've got you getting upset about the last news story.
Yeah.
You getting upset about this one. Like,
I'm going to let you
on,
finish,
guys.
though. I apologise.
Okay. So Jonah Hill previously has directed music videos, but this is his very first movie. It's called Mid-90s. A24 are attached to distribute it, which I think is a really good sign because, I mean, they've done some really great films over the past few years, like Hereditary, The Disaster Artist, Florida Project, Moonlight, Lady Bird. So, I mean, they
Room.
believe in it.
Room
Yeah,
as well.
Room as well. Yeah, so if they believe in it, I think that that's a really good sign. It's a coming-of-age film and set in Los Angeles in the 90s, obviously. And it stars Catherine Waterston, you know, the one from Alien Covenant and Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them. Lucas Hedges, who we talked about last week for
Great
that
young
trailer.
actor.
And Sonny Suljic, who people who've seen The Killing of a Sacred Deer will recognise as the little brother.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So, which Killing of the Sacred Deer was also A24, actually. So it's all like connected. But
They're incredible little movie
yeah.
house.
yeah,
Brilliant.
yeah. So yeah, I saw the trailer for it and it piqued my interest.
Jonah Hill is a very talented man. Very talented
Yeah.
man. He's a great actor. Like I don't throw that word around lightly. He's a great actor.
Yeah.
And in terms of the like range he's able to show.
Yeah.
Comedically, there's very few people on his level. And
Yeah.
that's when you see somebody like him who gets small roles and stuff like Forgetting Sarah Marshall or Knocked Up and
Yeah.
being able to make those moments hilarious
yeah.
and memorable. Like there's very like Paul Rudd can do it. There's very few actors of Seth Rogen, Jason Segel, whoever
Yeah,
who can do that. Leslie Mann's actually very good at it as well. But
Oh, I
again,
love
Yeah.
her,
the point is very few people can do it and have those moments stand out.
Yeah.
And he's been nominated for a couple of Oscars. He can obviously act. I've just interviewed him a few times.
And he's a tough interview.
Well, he's a tough interview, and some people are tough interviews. But Jonah Hill has a staggering pretentiousness. And watch him on Jimmy Kimmel, and the last time he was on Jimmy Kimmel, he's difficult to watch speak. He's just
Yeah.
difficult to like.
well, I always think of that.
Maybe that's when he's doing
Yeah.
publicity or whatever. I don't know.
Yeah, but like I mean, you even think it back to that interview he did with the Late Late Show with Ryan Tuberty.
Yeah,
And it was-
Channing Tatum was on as well.
Yeah, and it was a car crash, and it's nothing against Tubbers at all. Like, because I mean, it's.
But I heard that he was kind of like weird and awkward as well. It just sounded like it was kind of everyone was. It
yeah.
wasn't the right mix. Or
Sure,
whatever.
but like I'm saying,
That's what
Jonah
I
Hill.
heard anyway.
Yeah,
I
no,
didn't
but
see
Jonah
it.
Hill didn't
Yeah.
help it. Like
Yeah.
that's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
He didn't
yeah.
help it at
Yeah,
all.
like I mean, typically with those type of interviews, neither of those guys have anything serious to say. It was for a 21 Jump Street movie. I did that. I interviewed
22
two of them,
Jump Street.
22 Jump Street.
Yeah.
I did the interview that day as well. Channing Tatum's a gentleman. He's a really nice man. He's very polite, always super nice. Jonah Hill's just a difficult guy.
Yeah.
And with those type of interviews, like Tubbs is probably thinking, okay, look, I'll ask about the movie, it's about Hollywood or whatever, and it's light.
Yeah, of course.
And then
yeah.
if Jonah Hill shuts down, you're like, well, this is awkward because
I've got
I wasn't
nothing.
expecting this. I'm softballing you dickhead.
Yeah.
But I would very much expect this to be a decent film because he's a very, very talented
Yeah.
man.
He's also written it, and he does have like a few writing credits to his name at this point. He was a co-writer on 21 Jump Street, 22 Jump Street, Why Him, and Sausage Party. Of course, like all of those are from a comedy background, so it'll be interesting to see how he does with. From my understanding, this looks like straight drama, and I
Yeah.
mean, like the boy in it is kind of like being bullied by his older brother in it and everything, and he's kind of being like integrated into the skating community,
Yeah.
the skateboarding community. So it looks like fairly, like really playing it straight. Like
Sounds
not
like
really
an
a
emo's wet
comedy at
dream,
all.
to be honest with you. doesn't
Lords
it?
of Dogtown.
Yeah.
I really love that movie. Remember Lords of Dogtown? No? Is that a
We had
skateboard
to
movie?
like the Catherine Hardwicke in The Office in the last episode.
I
of
remember
The
that.
Office. Yeah.
I really, that's just saying, I really like I was really pissed that you took that interview. Well, I know you had to take it, but like, I mean, I really wanted to talk to her about Lords of Dogtown. I could have talked about that all day. Anyways,
Okay, what else you got, Dee?
Dave Bautista is fighting terrorists at a football match in the trailer for Final Score.
I literally saw producer Dave just like peek up there like, football match? Dave Bautista, terrorists?
You're talking about sports?
What? Sports?
So
Sure.
I saw the trailer for this the other day, and it's
Looks
Sky
ridiculous.
Cinema. It looks ridiculous, but so much fun. So the reason why I find this kind of interesting is Sky Cinema are going in for their own like original movies now, kind of in a similar move to what Netflix did. Now, sometimes they're not good. I'm thinking of that family film Monster Family, Anon, which you loathed.
I hate it.
But I saw The Hurricane Heist earlier this year, and remember, like I was saying that it was
You've been
really,
really
good.
good.
You
Yeah.
got really on board
It
with
was
that.
so much fun. It was so it was so bad it was good.
Yeah.
You know, it was definitely one of those, and I'm hoping that this one will be of a similar ilk. So in the film, Bautista basically plays this kind of ex-soldier who
Obviously,
and then these criminals come in and are holding 35,000 fans at the match hostage. So he has to use his particular set of skills to save them all. Come on, guys!
I know.
have to see
No, I
this
like
film.
Do you know who directed it?
Who?
Scott Mann,
Scott Mann.
Don't know.
who also directed Bautista in Heist, which I haven't heard of. Pierce Brosnan is in it as well.
He plays a Russian villain.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Well, we don't know if he's a villain. or
Oh,
not.
okay.
But like, I love the
His
title.
name's Dimitri.
Yeah. Oh, well, yeah, he sounds Russian.
I love the title though. Final Score. Come on, like that's so like you see, like
Producer
you're
Dave
just-
is into it. He's
First
100%
one.
He's like, okay, I'm in.
like Final Score. Like, come on, like that's just the best. Like,
I mean, the timing of this trailer and everything was brilliant. I mean, like a few weeks ago, obviously World Cup.
Oh,
was
yeah,
wrapped
sure,
up.
yeah.
And they couldn't have released it during the World Cup because it's like, you know, terrorists at a football match.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
that's a bit dodge.
Yeah. Don't
But,
blow us
like,
up.
But like the timing of this is just brilliant.
That sounds like great crack.
I can't-
when,
yeah.
when can we see that?
So this is the thing. They kind of essentially what Sky Cinema does is it releases it on the actual Sky Cinema channel on the
day-and-day
same
release.
day as it goes out in cinemas. But I'm not sure if it'll be releasing in cinemas here or if it'll be a limited release or whatever. But it'll be available from September 7th, which is very soon.
I'm in. Dave Bautista deserves like a kind of a lead
Yeah.
man role. See how
he's
he gets on.
like. There's another one who's a really underrated actor.
Yeah.
Like you look at like that scene he did. Like I know he's only in one scene in Blade Runner 2049.
Oh, he
That's a
did
great
that
scene.
short though. Remember in the
Yeah.
run up to it, and he was brilliant.
He's in the
that
Kickboxer
short.
remake as well.
Yeah, that's right.
that-
Is that the one that's directed by Slider from Top Gun?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's gas.
Slider from Top Gun's directed a lot of movies.
Yeah, he's
directed
like
Into the Blue and
yeah,
a bunch of other movies. Yeah.
yeah.
We don't know his name, but just call him Stockwell. John Stockwell.
John's yeah,
Just call him Slider from Top Gun.
Slider.
Yeah.
And he is really great in the Guardians of the Galaxy film. I mean, really, in the first film, he's so essential to like that emotional core because, like, with the tragedy of
Yeah,
his
yeah,
family
yeah.
story and everything.
But
to
he's
kind of,
hilarious.
and
Well-
then in the second film, he's like the comic relief, and he just like fits into that
Ridiculousness.
position so well. Like,
Okay, so,
it's good.
before we move on, we can't talk about Guardians of the Galaxy and Dave Bautista and not mention James Gunn. So what do we think is going to happen? Do you think they're going to be rehired?
I'll tell you, and actually,
By the time this goes out,
Yeah.
know.
we
Who
don't know
knows?
what'll
Who
have
knows?
happened.
Yeah.
right,
yeah.
I'll tell you. Here's what I think.
Dave
is-
Bautista got 100% behind him on.
Oh yeah, I know.
Oh, yeah,
Everyone's
yeah.
got behind him. Like the whole cast are behind him. Here's my hot take. Right, ready for this?
Brian's hot take.
Hot take. Here we go. There is no way on God's green earth that Disney are going to take James Gunn back. They are just not going to do it for a number of reasons. Here's two. First off, right? No, genuine. First off,
I like your command of the mic.
I'll tell you what it is, right? First of all, Disney are not going to take James Gunn back for the very simple reason that once they say something, it's law. They don't go back on a decision at all. Just Disney don't do that. They rarely, if ever, reverse course because they're too big, right? Second of all, Disney are so, and I mean you have no idea how controversy averse Disney are. They will, like, here's an example, right? In the 90s, or late 90s, when ABC had the Ellen DeGeneres sitcom, right? Remember that whole thing with her? I remember when she came out on it. Yeah. ABC, who are own, Disney own ABC, insisted that there be a, I guess you would say, warning, if you like, about the content of the show before they showed it. Like, that's
kind
ridiculous.
of defeats the purpose.
Right? Do you know what I mean? Like, they literally had to slap a warning on the Ellen sitcom.
Oh, that's ridiculous. Yeah,
That
but
is
I mean,
ridiculous.
that's
Yeah.
like, I mean, there's. okay, I get what you're saying, and yeah, I mean, I think you're right. I don't think Disney can go back on that decision. I think it was a very dangerous decision that they made.
It was a knee-jerk reaction.
Well, like
I
first
think
of all,
so
look
too,
at Disney's history as a studio. Look who's in charge of his Disney. Was in charge.
Correct.
Who founded Disney. Look at some of the racial undertones in some of their films, some of the earlier films. So language changes over time, and that's
It's
the point.
hypocrisy.
But that's by no means excusing like James Gunn's jokes, but they were jokes.
Oh no, yeah.
I
know what I
just
mean?
feel
Like-
like at the end of the day, they were 10 years ago, and it's not like he
He'd already
did
addressed them.
apologize
That's
and
the point.
address them.
Yeah.
And that's why I think the whole thing is like ridiculous. I think it was a knee-jerk reaction, and I think it was
Completely.
a bad
Yeah,
one.
I do. I
think
disagree
that
with it
they
as well,
should have
100%.
like actually done a bit of reading up and researching and knowing the facts that this was what he said. This is how he addressed it since.
Yeah.
I think it was a bad call.
I mean, like,
And it's bad for the franchise as well.
oh,
Yeah,
really
yeah.
bad, really bad. I mean,
this
it's
is his vision.
Yeah, and like another part of this as well is that like another thing that people are talking about, and it's very worth discussing. The people who actually drag this crap up,
4chan,
they
yeah.
are scumbags. Like that Mike Cernovich guy, he is a scumbag of the highest order. So like him going around thinking that he's like morally righteous, none of them are. Like, I mean, it is ridiculous. Like that guy might like. All of those people who brought this stuff up, all the alt-right people, they are scumbags of the highest order. And you might think, hey, I'm like, tarring them with a brush because, my own political kind of leanings are against it. That's not it at all. Those
You're
people,
alt-left.
Whatever.
I don't know.
There is no.
You're the opposite of alt-right.
Well, whatever. But my point is that those people are scumbags themselves. Like, and I'm repeating that word. I mean it. So, like, who are they to be like doing anything like this?
Yeah.
Like, the only reason that they brought this up was because James Gunn is a very outspoken critic of Donald Trump. That's literally it. There's no other reason they brought this crap up. It's literally because of that.
Sorry, do you want?
Oh, no, I was just going to add to that. Like, just my frustration with this is what kind of pattern are we setting for, like, the future? Because, like, you go back over anyone's career and you're gonna be able to bring up any shit
literally
anyone has said, any actor, any director, anyone in kind of any industry,
It's not even that.
and you can like kind of ruin their career over it. And I just think that that's really kind of messed up,
disgusting.
especially when they have actually apologized since. Like if it's getting to the point where we can't forgive someone, then you just have to kind of monitor and censor everything you say from now on. It's just creating a system of madness.
I think when everybody who's worked with that person comes out and is like, he's a good human being.
Yeah.
He's a fundamentally decent human being. He treats everybody well, and you have to come and be like, well, look, it was a stupid move.
Yeah.
But I think other than that, there's two other points quickly before we move on. Language changes massively over time.
Sure.
Right? If you watch stand-up comedy specials from 10 years ago, the language will make you feel uncomfortable for some of the language they use and some of the slurs they use. If you go back to the 80s,
It's even
never
worse.
Mind, it's even worse.
Yeah.
But never mind stand-up specials. I watched Adventures in Babysitting recently, and it was bits of it I was like, oh God. It's like, and it's silly that I'm shocked by that. It was a movie of its time, and the language has evolved, and people don't talk like that anymore. And that's just
Context.
So exactly, you can go back and look from 10 years previous, a tweet completely out of context. James Gunn sees himself as a provocateur at the time. Was very funny as well. I used to read blogs that he wrote and stuff, and they were very funny. He was very edgy.
Yeah.
And now he's Marvel and he's Disney, and he's expected to be and his past is expected to not have existed.
people-
But anyway,
Yeah, it's like, I mean, just a final point in this, and this is the bit that I was like, when they hired James Gunn, I knew about Slither and I knew about Super, but that was it. But I remember it was
PG porn.
Yes, that's it. Somebody showed me that. It was like, they got him to do this?
Yeah.
Like, I was like, wow.
So the whole point of it, and he got really good actors too as well, because he's friendly with a lot of Justin Bell and stuff like that in Hollywood.
But what I was saying was that, like, they knew who he was.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. That's the
Sensibility came from the trauma.
Yeah,
The
exactly.
trauma.
Trauma. Yeah, Lloyd Graham. Yeah, they knew what he was about, or Lloyd Kaufman rather. Sorry. They knew what he was about.
Anyway, I think it's Disney are setting a dangerous precedent for people like Jimmy Kimmel, because Jimmy Kimmel's on ABC.
Yeah.
And maybe like Jimmy Kimmel's a comedian known for pushing the boundaries. Great, love the man. But maybe he'll say something that people don't agree with, or he said something 20 years ago that somebody didn't agree with. Now that it's aged badly, and they're going to have to get rid of him. Anyway, okay.
Like
one
the
more,
Man Show. Like,
yeah,
you know,
exactly. Yeah, in with Adam Carolla.
Yeah.
Okay, so one more story, Dean. We'll
My
move on.
last piece of news, this is hot off the presses, just in this morning, and I think this sounds gas. So Ryan Reynolds is... Yes, I made Dave producer laugh. Yes. Ryan Reynolds is involved with a reimagining of Home Alone, which is called Stoned Alone. Nobody likes my stories today, except for the
I
one
love
about
that
Dave
story.
Bautista.
I love that story.
So Fox is reimagining the family-friendly film as an R-rated flick. Ryan Reynolds is attached to produce. It'll basically follow a 20-something weed-growing loser who misses the plane for his holiday ski trip. He decides to make the most of things by getting high, and then he thinks that there are invaders in his house. There actually are invaders in his house. He thinks he's paranoid, but they're actually there. I think that this sounds like great
That sounds
fun.
like really good fun. What's your problem over there?
No, it's
He's just a cynic.
I mean, come on, like, yeah, all right, yeah, grand, whatever, yeah, grand. It's such a weak concept.
No, it's not a
No,
great
it's not.
concept.
It's great.
Think
Why is that a
Yeah.
weak concept?
it's just Home Alone, but with like you're stoned.
That's weak.
Yeah,
Get Macaulay Culkin to do it. How amazing would that be?
He's had
Probably
his
too old. Oh, he's like 36 now.
and he's like had trouble with drugs as well. I'd say.
Yeah.
Like so was Russell Brand, and he did some of his best work in
It really-
Down to the Greek.
Yeah, sure
It
enough,
really
yeah.
would be key, though, who they'll have as the lead, because
Yeah.
if they're saying Ryan Reynolds is producing, obviously he's not going to star in it, and it's a 20-something-year-old. So, yeah, I think that cast will really be key here.
You just know they're going to get Joe Pesci or Daniel Stern, like the Wet Bandits, to come in for to come back to
That would be
do a cameo. It would be
gas.
good. It would be good.
Joe Pesci won't do anything now.
Oh no, God no.
But didn't he do the Irishman?
Yeah, Scorsese. Though.
Yeah, but he literally had to like work that entire shooting schedule just to get him in for it. Like it was crazy. Like,
Yeah.
really.
I think that sounds like great crack. I really enjoyed your stories this week. I just
Thank
don't like
you.
Jonah Hill personally.
Fair enough.
There we go.
I enjoyed them all as well.
Don't mind his face, Steve.
I did. I enjoy them all.
No, you didn't. You were like,
Final score. I really want to see that.
Yeah.
Come on, like what a great like. See, yeah, you're nodding. Yeah, of course you are. Great.
Okay, let's move on to the revisit.
Yeah.
Before we do, we have a unique opportunity and something we should try and do. I think going forward when we have a bit of time with directors who've made films we're big fans of,
Yeah.
or we would like to revisit, to kind of ask them about it. So I caught up with Chris McQuarrie and Henry Cavill for The Delve. It's live on The Delve's YouTube now and on iTunes, etc. The Delve, like and subscribe. Thank you. So here's a quick couple of minutes of Chris McQuarrie talking about Way of the Gun. We're going to revisit The Way of the Gun on another show we do called the Filum Show this week, because the authenticity in that film, first of all, the opening scene, and I know there's a back and forth about that opening scene. You're setting a template from the start. You're kind of going, we're going to mess with you here from the start.
Yes.
But it's such an authentic film when the guys are, there's that kind of shootout, and the guys are backing off. And you had a Navy SEAL, you knew somebody who was a guns expert or something?
My brother.
Your
my
brother.
He was
yeah,
a
of
technical
course.
advisor on all my films. He
Yeah.
worked on this film
It just
as well.
seems so authentic.
Yeah.
You don't see movies really like that anymore, but maybe with the introduction of the streaming services, could you see more Way of the Gun type gritty crime films coming out?
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what, it takes time, and it's not necessarily what you would call it's not necessarily the most dramatic, energetic thing. The tendency is to make films that have a lot more kinetic energy and are a lot more impactful. What we focused on was how-to. I really like how-to stuff. So the idea of watching guys reload, how often it takes to reload, techniques, what happens when you're shot in the arm, and all of that stuff.
Okay, so I went to see this one when I was in college, and loved every minute of it, and loved Chris McQuarrie's anarchic kind of
Crazy.
that opening alone. I love this film. I said Tom's in my top 10, and it is. It really is in my top 10. You rewatched it, Brian.
I did.
You actually rewatched the
I
revisit.
did. I watched them all.
and I watched it for the first time, so I'm visiting rather than revisiting it.
No.
Visit. Just watching a film. Yeah.
This is good, yeah. Dig it. Yeah, cool. What I think about Way of the Gun is Ryan Felipe and Benicio del Toro. If you were to say today, yes, we're going to get Benicio del Toro and Ryan Felipe to do an action movie.
You sure it's Felipe? I thought it was Philippe.
Philippe? Whatever. I don't know. Philippe? I don't know. Whatever. You wouldn't put the two of them together at all, is my point. You would
You
not.
wouldn't have put them together then either.
Exactly, and that's
Yeah.
what I'm saying. Then or now, you just wouldn't put the two of them together, but it works. Like, the dynamic between them is so sharp and lived in and just really authentic, that kind of way. It's a crazy movie. Like, it's so nuts. Like, I mean, I was reading up
Like
stuff
they
about...
they steal a pregnant woman. Like,
Literally that.
how do you even think of this?
Where
stuff?
does that even come from? But that's it. Like, that nuts... How nuts the whole film is. You can tell that Christopher McQuarrie was literally on his last like bit of.
He was trying to get an Alexander the Great movie made.
Yeah.
But he knew he wasn't going to get it made as his first.
That's right. And he was just going crazy with it, and he was just like, right, screw this. I'm going to write the most out there nuts
Well,
film.
he told me the only movie he could get made was a crime movie.
Yeah.
Nobody wanted anything else from him.
Yeah.
And he was like, right. So
I'm gonna make the
It
most.
was a big FU to, I think, everybody. And that opening was one that they messed around with a lot, wanted them to change a lot.
Yeah.
So he made it worse. That's something that David Fincher did with Fight Club as well.
Yeah.
Every time we would go back to the studio, he'd be like, can you change that? He would make it worse.
Yeah.
And that's something that he did. But I mean, you can't get through this without mentioning James Caan either, D. James Caan.
Oh, he's fantastic.
This kind of
in
like old bagman. It's just like.
Yeah. I love him. Yeah, I love him in like loads of stuff, like all over his career. Like he had obviously, well, the one I always go to is kind of an example of his old stuff is Misery, because he is great in that.
Yeah.
I mean, I know everyone talks about Kathy Bates, but really for him to kind of play the emasculated victim, like that's not an easy performance, you know? And then in this, I really liked him. I love him in Elf as well.
Yeah.
I just think he's great in that, like the straight,
These
like
are
just
super
putting
close
up with
together
all.
time-wise, Elf and
Yeah,
Way to Go.
that's what's so funny about it. And then it's also like fairly close to, what is the actress's name? Juliette Lewis. It's fairly close to her performance in Natural Born Killers as well. You forget that all these movies are like so close together and everything.
She was an indie
but
darling
anyway,
for a while.
Yeah, very much so. Yeah.
But I have to disagree with you about. I wasn't mad about Ryan Philippe in this film.
Really?
I love Benicio del Toro. I thought, I don't know, he's too pretty. I don't believe him as like a criminal.
I kind of saw him in a kind of James Dean kind of way.
His pouty face annoys me.
Yeah.
I'm
I mean, I remember
sorry,
at
he's
the
such a
time-
pouty
I remember
face.
at the time he got like jacked, like he put on a lot of muscle to do. He was already in good shape.
Yeah.
He obviously wanted to be an action star. But I take your point. I think nowadays it's like the comparison would be Zac Efron.
Yes.
Zac Efron in a
yeah.
movie with Benicio del Toro.
Yeah,
Yeah.
literally.
Really
Yeah.
well respected,
Yeah.
Oscar-winning actor. He'd won an Oscar for The Usual Suspects, as had Chris McQuarrie.
Yeah.
But I love this movie, and even.
Oh, hang on. We got to talk really quickly. We got to talk about that scene when Benicio del Toro and James Caan go for the coffee.
Oh yeah,
that's
That's
great
such a
scene.
good
Yeah,
scene where
yeah.
like they're like it's, that great line. And that's one thing that I love about this movie is that there are so many great lines in it. The bit where he's like, guys nowadays they just want to be a criminal rather than do a crime. Like,
Yeah.
And James Caan's like, well, that's just kind of the way the world is nowadays. Like that. That's so
But
smart.
that
like-
shootout at the end as well, which is brilliantly staged.
Yeah.
And we mentioned about
can talk
Very
about that, yeah.
Magnificent
we mentioned
Seven-esque.
mentioned about McQuarrie's authenticity, and for a first movie as well, it was so long till he ended up directing Jack Reacher and directing a second movie. He always wanted it to be right. But he falls in a glass. Yeah. And it's kind of a funny moment until you hear him, and he's like, God, he's actually
in
really
real
over
agony,
himself.
like literally
Yeah.
ripping it.
So that was playing with the audience a little bit too. But McQuarrie said as well, we see a lot of times with directors that the second movie they made or the first movie they make, they get an opportunity to make a first one that doesn't do well, and a second one. The best movies are very rarely seen as the best movies until 10, 15 years later. So that's what he was kind of saying. Because I was like, we studied this in college. We loved it.
Yeah.
And he was blown away by that.
Yeah.
Now he's making $250 million movies with Tom
There you
Cruise.
go. But I mean, when you watch it, you can see why like it wasn't a mainstream hit, because even by today's standards, it's not really a mainstream movie. It's very much a like cult movie with like kind of iconic scenes and iconic moments and iconic quotes and everything, but it doesn't even flow like the way you think it does. And I mean, there are so many like coincidences and connections in it to the point where it gets kind of almost silly, but it's also like self-aware, but it's almost like self-aware ahead of the time when movies became really self-aware, if you know what I mean. So like, I know that saying it's ahead of its time, I know Brian much prefers when movies are of their time, but it is ahead of its time.
You didn't say it this week.
I didn't say it this week. No, I
That's
was
because
prepared.
it's ahead of its time.
The Dark
it's
Knight,
true.
it's a film very much of its time. We're like, The Dark Knight.
Yeah, and then
Or
I
when Harry
explained
Met
it.
Sally is
I
very
explained-
You know what?
90s.
People have given out before about us saying like. You say count the amount of times to say like
shoot,
in
sorry.
comments or whatever.
It's
No,
probably
I'm not
me.
saying no, because Brian's one is it's of its time. It's like that beat that you have.
It's what they call like it's a bridging
And
phrase.
I got a lot of crap on YouTube for another interview I did where somebody's like, he said 33 times. It was a 78-minute interview, and it was a colloquial. What the hell?
It's a colloquialism.
Somebody counted.
Who has that amount of time that they can count? But no, one point I want to say about the final shootout. It's brilliant.
Oh, it's so good,
So
yeah.
good. And here's why I love it, right? Because there is a sense of progression in it. Like literally, like you can see the money is in the middle of the courtyard. They've got to get into it. They've got to get to it, and it's about them literally trying to fight their way to it. And like, you know that scene when they first meet the bodyguards, and it's like, you know, he does a thing like moving, move, moving, move. Like, that's real like tactics for like Navy SEAL guys, because like we were saying, Chris McQuarrie's brother was a Navy SEAL guy or something like that. That's literally what they do. But the final shootout, again, it's that thing, and it's a thing that he did in Fallout as well. There's a sense of geography. There's a sense of like, okay, here's the building.
Kind of the spatial awareness.
He shows you the building, and he shows you where the money is, and then the audience then knows, right, okay, when he gets to there, he's looking right at it. When he gets to there, he can't really see it. When he gets to such and such a place, the audience is able to track the action rather than it being chaotic. And that's just the mark of a good director. The mark of a good director is that you could literally turn off the dialogue and the sound, and you'll still know what's happening just by the visual language that's on display. There's loads of references to Butch Cassidy and Sundance Kid as well, because Parker and Lombay was the real names of Butch Cassidy and Sundance. There's also a load of references to Sam Peckinpah, you know, Fort Apache and all that kind of thing. It has a real kind of Western vibe to it. Like, even the way that Benicio del Toro kind of carries himself, like the way he's always like holding his belt, that's a real gunslinger kind of vibe. It's brilliant. It's such a good. But Dee is absolutely right. I was watching it, I was like, yeah, I totally get why this didn't do well. I love it, but I'm like, yeah, I totally get why this didn't do well. I think it was coming out at the time
just towards the end of Tarantino-ism. And,
very.
And people were kind of, well, it's Tarantino-esque, and that's what.
It's actually very
and that's why it's
different
of its time. And that's why it's of its time. Got it.
Do we call this the of? Do we change the name from the revisit to the of its time segment with Brian Lloyd?
Well,
and another thing.
Yeah.
But it's so well written as well. Like, you genuinely don't know what's going to come next. And it's so exciting. And like you said, there's so many great moments, such as, you know, that cafe scene and like the final shootout where you genuinely don't know how it's going to work out. And it is that kind of, like you said, the Butch Cassidy setup in that, like, it's kind of pointless. Like, what is the point at this point, after everything that's happened, of them going for that money? Like, they know
they're dumbasses.
They kind of, but they're so determined and warped, and it's like, it's fascinating to watch. Like, he's such a great writer and director. He should keep doing better.
What do you think he's going to do next, Steve? Because he was like, I'm not going near Star Wars, which I was delighted with. I was like, fair play. He's like, no thanks.
I don't know. Like, he can kind of do whatever the heck he wants. Like,
I
really hope that Fallout will do really well. I think it deserves to do really well, and I really, really think it's one of those films you have to see on a big screen. It's just not the same. So after this, he can do whatever he wants, and I'll probably check it out because he's great.
Let's for a second.
Let's
for a second before we go play Hollywood Studio. So we mentioned Disney have fired James Gunn. We all I think we all collectively disagreed with the firing, but we're not a studio. We're an imaginary studio right now. Chris McQuarrie's looking for his next project. Does he come in and make Guardians of the Galaxy 3?
No.
Oh, no. I don't think that's the right fit at all.
No. God, no.
I mean, he doesn't even really do... I mean, he does great action.
Don't put
he does
Chris McQuarrie in a box.
No, he does. No, he's ruler of many genres: action, thriller, crime, loads of stuff. But comedy has become so.
You could argue Guardians of the Galaxy is a crime movie.
It is, but they're about criminals. No, I'll tell you why Chris McQuarrie wouldn't do Disney.
Criminals.
Right. I'll tell you why Chris McQuarrie wouldn't do Disney. He would be pulling his hair out by the end.
With studio control.
He would completely buck against it. Who would they get to do Volume 3? Tell you exactly who I'd get to do it. Taika Waititi.
Yeah, that's kind of obvious.
Yeah.
That's the most obvious, logical choice. Call in Taika Waititi. Get him to do the third.
Will he do it?
That makes a lot of sense. Yeah.
I mean, like, they gave him a fairly...
I bet. Yeah, for the paycheck he would.
For the paycheck, but not even that. But like, I mean, for the fact that like he did such a good job with Thor Ragnarok.
Yeah.
And the fact that they gave him a lot of leeway with that.
My only worry would be, are they going to, because of the whole background with James Gunn being fired and everything, are they going to be like totally freaking out and controlling over Guardians 3? Because from what I heard, like Taika Waititi did a very good job in basically kind of
hoodwinking them.
Yeah, and tiptoeing around them. And that's how he ended up getting like so much leeway with it and everything.
What he would have needed there was, and Chris Pratt has the power to do that now of anybody, is that, you know, Chris Hemsworth being Thor would have been like, no, trust him, he's deadly. Like, he would have been distracting the studio people or Marvel people or whatever while Taika Waititi was doing whatever he wanted. And, you know, Chris Pratt could do that.
And even having Kate Blanchett there
exactly.
as
We've
well.
got somebody going, no, look, you know, you've got a big movie star going, okay, I'm in with his vision. I think that'll be the test there. Okay, so that's it for this week. Dee, we'll miss you for now. Are you gonna wait for 2 weeks?
2 weeks.
we have to do two shows.
It's going to be a
with Brian on
sausage
my
fest.
own.
It's going to be a sausage fest.
It is going to be. What's out next week?
Ant-Man and the Wasp.
Ant-Man and the Wasp.
Can we do? When's Equalizer out?
It's not out for ages. It's not out till 17th of August. It's actually out the week I come back, so I'll be able
there
to.
you've seen it.
Yeah.
Great, there you go.
I thought it was crap. Spoiler alert. Okay,
I
that's,
liked it.
that's it for this week. Please do like and subscribe. Thank you to Charlotte Reid for putting together all the visual aspects of the show, and shout out to producer Dave, Deadpan Dave, Handsome Dave, Sports Dave, not Dave O'Shaughnessy or Dave Bryan, Dave O'Regan.
Shocknessy, by the way. Shocknessy.
Appreciate it. Appreciate
Piss
it,
off,
Dave.
Brian.
Appreciate it. We'll see you next week.